All right, guys, Jim here, Redeye Racing. We're going to go over the Redeye build as of right now and the changes that we're making. I have a fully forged 6.2 BES motor. I have the Thytech heads on it. I now have a 4.5 liter Whipple. I have Cook's long tube headers. A Corsa full catback exhaust. I have the mid-pipe delete. We just put a 4L80 E transmission in the car, which has a full lockup converter. We also have the 9.5-inch Strange axle. I believe it's a 35 spline with 350 gears. We have the DSS. We have a Mark Williams drive shaft, and we have DSS axles. So prior to putting the Whipple on, I currently held the record for a Redeye running 915 at close to 150. And I was talking to AJ, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to get the car into the 8s. And honestly, the way the car was going, we would have had to put like a big nitrous setup on it. The car was pretty much maxed out. We didn't think that we could get to, an 8-second pass with the car currently the way it is, because there was really nothing else we could have really done to it. I was gonna, even if with a ported blower, that probably would have gave us another 50, 100 horsepower. But, AJ believed that we were about 200 horsepower away from really having a good shot at getting into the 8s. So he made a suggestion that we should go with a Whipple. Bigger is always usually better. So we went with the Whipple. And then we also put a nitrous setup in the car also, just for like an insurance policy. We ran the car a couple of times. We had some issues with the converter. It's a brand new, combination. So, nobody's running. A lot of people are running the Turbo 400. No one's running the 4L80E. So we fixed all those little issues. And then we realized that we didn't have enough gear. With the 350 gear in the rear, I was going through the stripes at only like 6,200 RPM. And with my fully forged 6.2, we can rev that thing to like 7,400. So we were going to, make that gear change and then get the car in the 8s. But compared to the old blower, where we were using 22 pounds of boost, we were using no nitrous. With the new blower, we're using 30 pounds of boost. Then we put 100 shot in it, then 150 shot in it, and it still wasn't getting the performance that we wanted to. Now, bear in mind, if we would have made the rear end transformation, the car definitely would have made it into the 8s, probably on motor only, because, we still had about 1,200 RPMs to go, and that's a lot. Plus, we were still screwing around with the transmission. We could have changed the first gear in the transmission also, and it would have been possible. But I have already made a commitment for the end of the year. We're going to do a twin turbo build. So I already knew that I was going to be putting a 426 stroker motor in there. So instead of really stressing out this 6.2, one of the great things about this car, or all these cars, is, these parts are interchangeable. There's so many people that are looking for parts, and the parts are really scarce. My stock transmission I stole to a buddy of mine. I got good money for that. Everything that comes off my car, the stock blower that I had on it, AJ was able to sell that. He got a good price on that also. So to me, anything that I ever do to the car, I'm not really worried about it if we take a shot and try something, because, I know I could always take it off and do something else. So one of the main things that we were hoping for, is we kind of knew that the Whipple was too big for my 6.2 to begin with. So Whipple was coming out with this new 3-liter and a new 3.8-liter supercharger, and that would make my car more efficient. The problem that we have is you got this big 4.5-liter blower on this car. We're trying to shove nitrous in it too, and it's only a 377. It's a very small block, so it just basically, I think, airflow was preventing us to get where we wanted to be. Now, to be honest with you, I race in the 850 class for the Modern Street Hemi Shootout. I'm not looking for 899 or 890. I mean, you can't be running 899, 890 and be competitive in the 850 class. I wanted to be able to go 850 or lower, and then depending on how the car was performing, we could adjust the nitrous and get those things accordingly. So we were at the track a couple of weeks ago. We decided, hey, you know what? Since we already have this motor anyway, let's make the change now. We know that a 426 and a 4.5 Whipple is absolutely a great combination. There are plenty of cars. SRT Stink Eye, Mark, good friend of mine, he went 890 motor only with a 4.0 pulley on it, with a 426. So, we know that it's very capable of doing that. And then depending on the conditions that we're at, and I spoke to Mark also, there's still plenty of more in his car left to what he wants to do to it. He thinks he can get that car to 850 no problem. So we're making the switch a little bit earlier than expected, but we're making the switch. So we have a fully built 426 from BES. Funny thing, it's actually Jim from True Street's motor. The way we came to this conclusion is, normally when you want to build a motor, it takes months and months and months to get a motor built. I think it took Jim close to 8 months to get this motor built. And he was kind enough to let me have his motor, which would pretty much be the same exact one that I would have ordered anyway. So it's just fortunate that I have that relationship with Jim, and Jim had already just put another motor in his Jeep, and he kind of didn't really need this motor right now. I know Jim has already sent out, and he's already getting this motor built. So we have a lower compression ratio than you normally would use if you were going with a supercharger. With a supercharger, you would want to have a higher compression. This motor is 9721, but bear in mind, we're going twin turbo. And when you go twin turbo, you want to have a lower compression in your motor. So, that's where we are with that. I'm really excited. The guys are pulling the motor today. The new motor is here. I think I'm going to be going to True Street probably Friday. I'm going to have some fresh video of, the car, where it's at. And I believe we're planning next week to go to ATCO and do some testing. We're thinking that we might still need to make a little change as far as gear ratio is. Whether we do that in the final drive in the rear, or we do that with the transmission. AJ said that, whatever the car needs, we're going to get. And also what we're finally putting in is is 2-step. Now, a lot of you guys that are driving these cars, when you're with the regular transmission in there, we pretty much leave on, your foot brake, basically. As soon as you feel a little resistance, 1100 RPMs, you let go of that brake, you smash the throttle, and, the car takes off. But I believe I have like a 3,500 or a 4,000 stall speed. So it was really difficult to try to cut a good light when I'm going up, I'm hitting a bulb, then I'm hitting my next bulb, and now I'm trying to build RPMs. And, the RPMs can go up from 3,000 to 4,000, and I just wasn't really consistent. And if you saw my last outing in Virginia, I got treed once, and even the second one, I didn't get to leave properly. I think I did a 0.3 light. So with the two-step, you know, it makes it a lot easier. I mean, you hold the button, your foot is on the deck, and you just let go of the button, the car takes off. Now, normally with two-step would mean that you're leaving the line at full boost. So, you know, AJ is, I mean, you know, this guy is like the best ever. I mean, you know, he like, when he gets your PCM and you guys send your PCMs out, he's actually the guy that opens it up and with his computer goes internal and makes all those changes. He writes code. I mean, AJ's like, you know, he's like a mad scientist. So he's taking this two-step and he's modifying it so that I don't leave the line at 30 pounds of boost. Because, you know, any of you guys that are in this series or are in any series, you know, you try to leave the line with 30 pounds of boost, I don't care what car it is, it's probably going to smoke the tires. So he has a way of writing a program so that we can still open up the throttle, but we don't have to have all the boost. So I'm sure it's going to, you know, be something that we're going to have to work on. But AJ feels confident that it's ready to go. And I'm excited because, to be honest with you, you know, even when you race this car, when it's brand new out of the box, there are so many buttons that you got to press. It's really hard to really concentrate on a light. I mean, it really is. I mean, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to dumb the car down so that I have less things to do in it so that I could be better at the driving part. So I'm really excited about these changes that we made. It should be pretty awesome. And, you know, I will be back on here, I think Thursday or Friday. I'll have some updates. We'll have some pictures. And then we'll go on for there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, this is my second video now making. You know, I would appreciate any comments, any suggestions, anything that I missed that you would like for me to go over, or you would like to, you know, for me to make a video about. I certainly will do that. And like I said, I'll get to all your comments, you know, good, bad, or indifferent. So this is Jim, Redeye Racing. You all have a great day.